Happy Tuesday, everybody. This is Juanita Williams. I'm a purpose conduit. I am the link to life beyond pain. I am the channel to discovering purpose. And this is today's Tuesday Tooth Truths. I'm sorry, I said Tuesday Tooth. That's not a tooth, it's truths. But anyway, we are continuing our trauma wound series. And today I am interviewing my beautiful niece, Felicha Brown. Yeah, that's right. Give her a hand. Come on, everybody, give her a hand. So she's going to be talking about her trauma wounds today and her healing process and her healing journey. So I will let her continue to introduce herself, and I'm going to yield the mic to her.
Hello, everybody. How are you? I pray that all is well today. Thank you, Auntie Nita, for inviting me on. I've been kind of nervous this week about, but it's time. It's time to speak. You hold things in. And I just want to share my journey of healing and how it took place and where I am now today. So as Auntie Nita said, I am Felicha Brown. I am the wife of DeAndre Brown. I have 3 children. I am a college and career counselor at Quest in Peoria. I have 3 children and I have 8 grandkids, y'all. Eight grandkids. So my journey is like crazy. My journey started at birth. That's when my journey started. My journey of trauma started at birth. My mom was 13 when she had me. And according to one of my aunties, they wanted my mom to abort me. And she did not abort me. So my mom was 13 when she had me. And then 3 years later, she had my sister at 16. And then 4 years later at 20, my mom was dead. So that just in that time frame from 13 to 20, 7 years, I was traumatized. I never felt like my mom didn't want me, but I always, I came into the world feeling like a sense of abandonment, a sense of, I was a mistake, which 13, I mean, it was a mistake, probably not a regret. I'm sure she didn't regret having me, but I'm sure it was a mistake. But from that point, I had my grandma, my grandpa, my aunts and uncles. So I didn't really know I was traumatized, if that makes sense. I didn't know that I was going through trauma because of the way that my family put me in the middle. They never let me miss a beat. I never missed a beat with anything. So I didn't know that I was traumatized. I didn't know what I was going through. So I'll say up until that point, up until I was 7, until my mom passed, I do remember is I remember talking to her on the phone, and I do remember we stayed at 601 West 3rd, and the phone table was right in front of my grandpa room, and I remember standing there talking to her. It is too early for this. I remember standing there talking to her, and she was telling me that she was going to come and get me, and I waited. I was waiting on that to happen, but I also knew that my grandma wasn't going to let that happen. And I thank God that my grandma and grandpa did not allow that to happen, that, they did not allow my mom to take me as a teenage mom into California in the time of the 80s, where, different things was going on, and, her trying to find out who she was, and, different things. So, I think as I'm at 49 and telling this story right now with tears in my eyes, I didn't know I was traumatized at that time. I didn't know I was traumatized. I was just waiting on my my mom to come back. Like I said, not that I missed a beat, not that I was getting treated unfairly or anything like that, because I wasn't. I actually, to be honest, if I can admit it today, I was a spoiled brat. I was bratty,
We
you know.
loved you.
They took very good care of me. And my
And
sister.
if, let me interrupt you. If you need to take a break, we can take a break.
Okay, I'm
Take a
okay.
break.
I'm gonna be okay. Um, so that was that. So we'll talk about up until that point, because that was that was my first encounter with trauma. Was not, my dad was in and out of prison. The year that my mom died was the same year my dad went to prison for 35 years, y'all. He got out of prison. He went to prison when I was 7. He got out of prison when I was 4. I'm 49. I was 45, maybe 46. So he just got out of prison. So I didn't know. I didn't really know the trauma, but what I didn't know is how this was going to affect my life moving forward. That's what I did not know. So moving forward, I was always raised in the church. I was always raised to love God. I was always raised to know that God will take care of it. God has us. God cares for us. I was always raised to know that. But once I became into my teenage years, I'll say that 3rd grade, my mom died. In 5th grade, I'll never forget it. I remember it very vividly. I was walking home from school. It was picture day. I won't forget it. And my granny had sent me to school with my money to get my pictures. And if you know my granny, you better have brought the change and everything back. Everything had to come back with the pictures. And I'll never forget, I was walking home and I was in 5th grade, and an 8th grade boy had came and snatched my pictures, and the money was inside of there. And all I kept thinking was, I got to get this and bring this home, because that's what my granny told me. And the boy lured me to his house. He lived across the street from the Harrison homes. I remember it vividly. And he raped me. And I was in 5th grade. And I would dare tell my mom, my granny, or my aunties or my uncles, but that was the only way I could get this back, in order to take this money and these pictures home. And I won't forget it. When I got home, my grandpa was outside and we was getting siding put on our house. I won't forget it. I remember what it smelled like. I remember what it looked like outside. I remember the man was on the ladder. I remember my grandpa was out there, and I was late coming home. And, he was dealing with the men on the ladder, getting the siding, I don't know what they was doing, the roof or I don't think it was siding, because we had brick. I think they was doing something with the house. And I remember walking down Humboldt Street as it was just shame. I was just so shame. I was so disappointed. I felt like everybody knew, and I never told anybody. I got home and I got in trouble on top of that for being late for coming home from school. And nobody had knew that this 8th grader had just raped me, had took my stuff. And I was so worried about the fact that I had to bring this back, because that's what my granny said. And I wanted to abide by that. But I didn't know. That was my second trauma. That was the second trauma. Um, that changed my life dramatically. Whenever I saw this boy, up until, guys, I was 30 something years old, I would see him, I would go into a shell and be afraid, because I never dealt with it. I never dealt with it. I never addressed him. And it was almost like he had this part of me, even though I 30, I was married. I'm married. And this at the time, this man still had this hold that made me fringe because I was so afraid because of what he did to me when I was in 5th grade. So from that day forward, that was a trauma. That was a trauma that traumatized me, that hurt me, that had me think like, okay, all this time I've been thinking, I'm in 5th grade. I'm 10. I'm 10 years old. I still got a doll house. I'm 10. And that changed the way I began to carry myself. That changed the way I began to do things. I felt like I became real sensual, but I didn't know why. And being grown, I understand why, with the soul ties and things, like I understand why now. But at the time, being a young a kid, I was a kid, and I didn't understand that. And so I went on with that, of being, traumatized, and as they say back in the old days, being fast. You being fast, and it wasn't. I wanted to be fast. I didn't know. And how many other girls had he done this to? So he's just transferring. Um, so that took a toll on my life. It changed my life as a 5th grader. It changed my life. So I kind of went through my middle school years, like, very, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know. I was a yes person. I wanted to please everybody. I just wanted people to like me. I didn't want people to think that I was that fast girl. But because of that, not only did he do that, he decided to tell all the boys that this is what I do. And it wasn't what I did. He did that to me from 5th grade. He did that to me, and he was already in high school after that. And he still was dropping this nugget about me. And I'm like, this is what you did to me. I was a virgin. I did not know, I should not have not been a virgin in 5th grade. That was not my choice. So moving forward, a lot of other things began to happen in that middle school year. My aunties, they began to become into young women. They had their own family, so they had to go. They had to go make their lives. So I had to begin to learn how to be. My granny had a stroke. So it was just myself, my sister, my grandpa, my granny, pretty much, in the house. And we didn't, at that point, it kind of felt like we had to fend for ourselves. Not that they didn't love us. I have to keep saying that. I have to say, not that they didn't love us, but I feel like they did the best they could with what they had, or how they had to do it. So my grandpa had to take care of my granny because she had a stroke, and she had another stroke. And I remember, by this time in 8th grade, I think Granny had 2 strokes by this time. I was in 8th grade. And so going into high school was like, I didn't want to do it. I did not want to do it, even though I was prepared. I was in sports, and I was in the band, and and I had a social life. I had a social life, but I really was not prepared for I wasn't prepared going into high school. At this point, my life was feeling like nobody loved me. I was getting those feelings now of nobody is loving me. This is, I'm being promiscuous, and I'm doing this. And church was not, church was more hurt than what it was out in the world for me, because I felt like as my granny was going through what she was going through, there was not a church family that took us under their wing to help us go through what we were going through. It's like everybody forgot about us. They just forgot about us as a whole, even, forgot about the whole family, my aunties, so I didn't we had Aunt Ruby, and our aunties and uncles did come check on us. I'm not saying they didn't do that, they did, but our day-to-day on how to become young women, I felt like we lost that. I feel like I lost that. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to do it. I felt like it was kind of like I had to fend for myself, and that took me down a whole nother road of um trauma, because I was looking for someone to love me. I was looking for a love. I was looking for a void that needed to be filled, and the void of my mom, my dad, those voids that I didn't recognize. I just kind of like, it's done. That happened. My mom passed away. My dad's locked up. It's just that. And so I didn't know that's what I was wanting. I was needing that love. I didn't know I was needing that security. I didn't know that I was needing that guidance. But I look to other people for those things. And if they show even a little, as a teenager, you don't really know what love is. You just know what you think you want it to be. And so you have another teenager who think they know what love is too, and they showing you. So at 15, I was pregnant. At 15. I was a sophomore in high school. And I think that was the most, I was so lost. That was the most hurting. Um, that I felt like I did it. I feel like I had let everybody down, my family down, my granny, my aunts, my uncles. I felt like I had let everybody down. Like I just, that was that. I continued to go to school, but 17, I was pregnant again. I was pregnant again. By this time, the housing authority was giving 16-year-olds apartments. I didn't even make my own bed, y'all, until kid y'all not. I didn't even make my own bed. I don't even know in 8th grade if I was making my own bed. If Nita and Sherry was making our beds then still. I think they were still at home making our beds. So I just think at 16, just a few years later, the housing authority was giving us apartments left and right at age 16, had us sign at least, we know what we was reading, because 16, you might be a junior, so you don't even know the lingo that you reading and signing. So we was signing our lives away to live in the projects, and they allowed us to do that. That time, y'all, trauma, it just comes in so many different forms. It was so, I just have to say, it was just, I just thank God that I came out. That's all I have to say. I just thank God that he bought me out, because even during that, choosing the wrong mates, and going through domestic abuse, and going through those feelings of abandonment again, going through those feelings of what am I going to do with my life, or people telling you, this it. The Harrison is it. That's it for you. This is it. You are the statistics. You followed exactly what they said. Once you have a first baby at teenage, you'll have, within the next 2 years, you'll have another one. I did it. I did exactly what the stats said would happen for African American women. But there was more instilled in me, because even though I was looking and wanting that love of my mom, there was love instilled in me. There was still things instilled in me. So I never gave up. I was never the person, no matter what was going through and what I went through and how I had to go through. I was always the one people thought I thought I was all that. I wasn't. This is just how I was raised. I was raised the same place y'all was raised. I never thought that, but this is just how I was raised. And so the trauma, it was much. So at 19, I go through that. I had to learn how to be a mom. I grew up with my two boys. I grew up with Tony and Dre, and I had to learn how to be a mom. So I had to learn how to give them what I felt like I wasn't getting. So I made sure that I gave them what I tried to give them, everything that I thought I was missing. I did not want to be that absent parent, even though I was 15 and I was 17. I made a vow that I was not going to be that absent parent and that I would never leave them. So I say at 19, my granny passed away when I was 19 years old. And I found out that as a baby, I was being molested. And I didn't know that. And I really didn't care to know that, y'all. I don't even know why um it came to me. I don't know why it was told to me. I really didn't care to know that. I did not want to know it. I did not care to know it. I did not question it. I did not respond to it. I literally went numb because I'm like, why? Where did this come from? Why this, whatever? So that's that. So that's all I'm gonna say about that at 19. But that put another layer onto this trauma. Like, what is going on with my life? I'm 19. I'm not even 21. I'm 19. Why is all of these things happening? Why am I being used by men? Why am I being abused by men? This went on in my life. This went on in my life. I took my kids and I moved out of town. I moved out of town to an abusive relationship. I moved out of town to with someone with a controlling relationship because I was trying to find me. And I still never knew who I was. I never knew who I was. Like every day, fighting and protecting my kids every day. Till I got tired. And one day I just said, I'm not doing it anymore. So I packed what I could pack and I waited till the guy left and I hid my money and I got 3 bus tickets. And when he left, I got my babies and I had planned a way of escape and I got my babies and I got on the bus. I left everything that I owned. Left everything, like literally I was fighting for my life, fighting to protect my kids, fighting, and God gave me the strength to be able to. He provided a way of escape for me, and I never looked back. I never ever looked back. I had never experienced anything like that in my life. I had never experienced the verbal abuse, the mental abuse, and the physical abuse. All of it is real. All of it is real. And if you are experiencing that, there is a way of escape. Find your way of escape. Protect yourself. Find your way of escape. Do not stay for the kids. Do not stay for the money. Do not stay. Find your way of escape, because if you don't, the end result is death. The end result is death. It is a demonic thing, and like the word said, the enemy only comes to kill, steal, and destroy. That is the end. That is all it is. Find your way of escape. So that was my early 20s to about 25. My kid's dad was in jail. So I was just like, I didn't know what to do. My heart told me that everybody that I love, leave me. Everybody I love, leave me. Everybody I love, leave me. Everybody, that was just it. My mom left me. My granny left me. I still have my grandpa, but Dre left me. Everybody I love left me. It was like, either way, my dad, I didn't even, at the time being young, I didn't know him. I didn't know my dad. I formed a relationship with my dad behind the prison walls. My granny gave me a choice whether or not I wanted to go see my dad. when I was in middle school, and I said yes. She gave me a choice to have a relationship, and I did. And y'all, when I tell y'all I've been to every penitentiary in Illinois, I have. I followed my dad literally from the top to the bottom of Illinois because I wanted that. I wanted that relationship. I wanted that relationship with my dad. I wanted a relationship. So that that like that messed me up. That messed me up. So the trauma for me, it had me looking in all the wrong places from the beginning. It had me looking for all the wrong things. It had me accepting all the wrong things. It had me doing all the wrong things. It had me only so I could feel like somebody is loving me, so I could feel like I am getting that love. So I was willing to be that ride or die chick. I was willing to carry the drugs. I was willing to do those things because if this is the way love, sounds so crazy now at 49. It sounds so crazy, but if this is how I get love, if this is if this is how I feel like you love me, then this is what we're going to do. This is what I'm going to do. Never thinking about the danger that I put myself and put my children in. But I thank God that we were covered. I thank God. I have to say, I thank God that the prayers of the righteous, I was covered. I was covered. There was a time that my family didn't even know where I was at. They didn't even know where me and my kids were at because I never told them. I just left and I just did. And I didn't even think about how that could have been traumatizing to them because that's what happened to my mom. She just left, you know? So I didn't even think about how traumatizing that could have been to them, not even knowing where their niece or their great nephews, were. And I just did not want them to know the hell that I was going through, that I was putting myself through, because, if y'all know them, they would have been coming. They would have been coming, and they would have been coming blazing with whoever did it. They would have been coming. So, but I didn't. I I guess I wanted to figure this life out, and I never left my kids because I promised I would never leave them because my mom left us. And I'm like, I would never leave them. So Tony and Dre are warriors. They went through exactly what I went through, not bragging about it, not proud about it, but my kids went through exactly what I went through. So after going through that with the trauma of the abuse, the physical, mental abuse, the sexual abuse, and all of those things, I think my last straw is when I left Chicago. And I prayed and I'm like, okay, God, you have to help me, because I was in Chicago and so many things was going on, and it was so many avenues, and it was so many, and I didn't want my kids to get caught up in these things that was going on, and I didn't want to get caught up in it. And I prayed. I'm like, okay, I got enough strength, and I prayed, and I'm like, God, you got to help me. You got to help me. I don't know what is going on with my life. I don't know why I am accepting the things that I'm accepting. I don't know why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. Till the next person is like, you just doing it because you want to do it. But no, it's not. It's like in the Bible, those things that I want to do right, and I just keep doing it. I do want to do right. And I have to go back to, I have to stop and go back to, I thank God for the foundation from being in church. I think that, that's all I knew at the time to pull off of. I didn't, now we know things different. We know things different about God. God for yourself. But that's all I knew is what I was taught. And that's all I knew how to pull off of. And that's what happened. So about 26, when I was 26, I came back to Peoria, and I began to get my life together. I began to get my life in order. I rededicated my life to Christ. And that was the on and off battle as well. That was a on and off, always an on and off battle. But I made a decision that I was going to find out how to love me. I asked God what was missing. What's missing? Why is this keep happening? Why am I getting abused? And why is this happening? Why am I so the sensual and submissive and all? Why are these things happening? And I mean, why? And he's told me that the love that I was looking for was in him. I'm looking for love in all the wrong places. That saying, look for love in all. I was looking for love in all the wrong places, all the wrong places. But it was a journey that I had to go through. It was journeys that I had to go through. I had to go through these journeys. I had to do it. So so my trauma, I had to address it. I had to address the trauma. So even in my, when I said 26, I decided, that's when I decided. But it wasn't until I'll say about 40, until I was about 40 years old, 39, 40, that I really addressed it. Because what I had to do was I had to go back. It was literally like I had to jump back into all these situations, and I had to take it, and then I had to give it to God. So I had to go back. I had to take being raped at 5th grade, and I had to give it to God. I had to forgive him. I had to forgive him. And I had to take it, and I had to give it to God. I had to, whatever the being a baby, I don't even remember, whatever, I had to take it, I had to give it to God. The physical abuse, I had to take it, I had to give it to God. The hurt, the feel, everything, I had to take it, I had to go back, and I had to experience it again. And I had to take it, and I had to give it to God. I had to take all of those things. Now, my trauma was not real to me until I became an adult, until it was time for when I had my kids and my mom wasn't there, when I got married and my mom wasn't there, when I graduated from college and high school and my mom wasn't there, when I just need somebody to talk to, or they have all these mom things and these things like that. It was events, it was moments that my trauma resurfaced. And I'm like, come on, I'm grown. I'm over that. I'm this and that and that. But I wasn't. I was not over it. So it was almost like being traumatized all over again. All over again. When these certain seasons come around and you smell the smell and you're grown, and this happened when you were in 5th grade, it's traumatizing. So again, okay, God, because I can't do this. I cannot continue to do this. I need a way out. I need a way of escape. I need you to take care of this for me. I need you to do, like, literally, I need you. My prayer actually was, I need you to take this away. That's what I wanted him to do. I wanted him to just wipe it clean. I wanted it to be just wiped clean. I was tired of being hurt. I was tired of reliving these things. I was tired of it. I was tired of it. I was tired of being used. I was tired of my kindness being taken, for weakness. I was tired of people running over me mentally, spiritually. I was tired of that. And I'm like, God, you got to help me, because at this point, I feel like I need to take it into my own hands. And I don't know what that's going to look like, because I've never fought for myself. I've always said, okay, I never fought for myself. So I don't know what that's going to look like. So God had to literally restructure me. He had to tell me who I was. He had to show me who I was. He had to show me that I was smart enough. He had to show me that it was not my fault. He had to show me that it is okay. He had to show me these things. And it wasn't until he did that that I really start addressing my life right here, right now. No, you don't get to make me feel, no, what am I going to do with these feelings? Where are they going? Because you're not gonna weigh me down with this, because I would do that. It's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And now here we go. I'm building this big wall and this, and I'm isolating myself, and now I'm tormenting myself about things that has happened 15, 20, 30 years ago, that it's done. It is done. It is over. It is not your fault. You are forgiven. You have forgiven those people. So you have to move forward. Trauma is real. The trauma is not just car accidents or being shot or things like that. Trauma is real. The mental, the mine was physical and mental, because my mind never lets it go. So it's literally, if you know what tormenting is, it's literally like every single day you're tormenting yourself. Every single day you are tormenting yourself over something that you had no control over something you could not have control, something that have um you could not have made it better. You could not have made things better. It is like, many days I ask God, I'm like, why can't I just go back to when family was family, when I went to all of the Orthodox workshops with my grandpa, and I did the Bible Bowl, and I sat in my grandma and grandpa room, and I'm waiting on that Pepsi in that jar. And why can't we not just go? It's like, I just want to go back to that, because that just feels like that's when the love was the strongest. It was you knew it didn't matter that I didn't have my mom or my dad. I had my grandma, I had my grandpa. I knew that everything was going to be okay. It was that protection. You had protection, you had provision, you had everything that you needed that was given. But then life does take a toll. Life does happen. And it's like, okay, you told you can't ask God questions, but if that mean you can ask your father questions? Absolutely. I'm asking. I'm asking questions like, God, why? Why are we doing this? Why? You know what I'm saying? Why do these things happen, and why did it have to happen? It's just, and you just ask God to give, I had to just ask God literally to renew my mind, renew my body, because I felt like it was so much that went on with my body, like messed up my intimacy once I got married. It was just so much that went on that is like, God, I need you to help me. It messed up my trust issues. I had trust issues because of the trauma. It just literally messes you up. So my journey to healing is an everyday journey. Every day I choose it. I choose every day. I'm not saying I got healed in 2015 and I ain't never. No, every single day I choose, because every minute the enemy wants me to be reminded of what happened, what I went through, but I have to remind him that I am free. I have to remind him that I am healed. I have to remind him that what you're saying is old. You're not telling the world nothing new about Felicia. You overheard it. It ain't nothing for a fact. You overheard it. So you try to use, so I have to have those type of conversations with the enemy and take my control and take my power back, and let him know that he is under my feet, and he will not use this to torment me. He won't. I'm free. I'm free, not for so many reasons, but by the blood of the Lamb. I am free. I am free from all that has happened, all that has taken place. So if I had to say anything or leave you with anything, I would say, don't be afraid. Well, I have to add this. I did go to counseling. I do have to add the fact that I did go to counseling. And at first I was not going to go because if you know, in the African American community, it is looked down upon. At least it was. I think we're coming a little closer to it. You know, we're opening up, like, yeah. But I did have to go to counseling because I'm one of those people that I will worry myself to death. And I needed to make sense. And none of this made sense to me. It never made sense. And I needed to make sense. And I wasn't that type of person that could just, oh, that just happened. Oh, well, you know, it happened to the best of us. I'm not that person. I need an answer. I need something, you know. So I did have to go to counseling and seek that professional help. I mean, I even went to I was doing counseling with my bishop as well. So I had two. I did the professional counseling and I did the spiritual counseling as well. So that's how it helped with me. And you know, it helped with my husband going through that so he can understand me. He could understand what took place in my life so that he can help me to stay every single day. He can help me to stay free from those thoughts and those torments. So if you're married, do not hold it. Don't hold this from your husband. I know you like, I don't want to talk about it no more. I won't think about it. But in order for you to 100% heal, you can't be walking around with this, you know, the enemy would try to make it seem like you holding a whole secret. Oh, you married and you got a secret and you ain't told your husband. No, don't give him any leeway. Don't give him no leeway. But you need your husband. That's your support system. You need whatever, your friend, your significant other, whatever, you need them to help you on this journey of being free, on this journey of allowing the torment to be it. Yes, it happened, but it doesn't have to keep happening because torment has a way to allow itself to continue. Like, come on, really? So it doesn't have to continue to happen, but you have to choose every single day. You have to take control of it. Like I told you in the beginning, every time I saw that guy, I'm telling y'all, I would freeze. Like when I say freeze, it would be this fear that came over, and I was grown, married, and this fear came over me. And I had to tell my husband. I had to tell my husband about this. He knew about it, but he didn't know that control that spirit had, you know. And I never addressed the spirit. I never addressed that spirit. You know, I never removed it. I never released it from me. So when I saw, and it was almost like he knew it. And it's like, I have a whole family. I have a husband. Why am I freezing? Why am I feeling like it was like a trance? And I'm like, no, not again. No, absolutely not. You will not. You will not have this type of control over me. You won't. And I had to pray about that. I had to pray about that and get that release. But that is that's the tip of the iceberg, guys. That's just kind of I touched on the things that really affected me, the trauma that in my life that really affected me, and I felt like it was hindering me in so many areas of my life, because I had trust issues, because I felt like I wasn't pretty enough, and I felt like nobody loved me, and I felt like I couldn't do this. I felt like I didn't deserve things, and you know, I didn't deserve to do this because I did this when you was in fifth grade. Somebody raped you, and when you was 15, you had a baby, and you don't deserve this, and you're gonna do this. But guys, let me tell you, God, he turned it around. And I get to, in the job that I do today, I get to be transparent. Whenever he tell me to be transparent with my teenagers in the high school, I am transparent with my teenagers in the high school, because that does not have to be the end.
Yeah.
It does not have to be the end. I get to counsel them. I get to help them through. I get to help them to be self-sufficient. I get to help them know who they are and whose they are. I get to help them not to be that person that is getting walked all over because they don't have a voice, or people feel like they don't have a voice, so they take advantage of them. So I get to help. So that is part of my healing too, because I get to, I get to help that teenager before she even get to that point, even him before he even gets to that point. I get to help them do that, and that helps me. That helps me a lot, guys. That helps me a lot. So again, I touched on the trauma that was major in my life. There is more. There's definitely more, but um God is still working on me with those things. So, I'll share when I'm sure this gonna come back around, and you're gonna want to know, hey, what happened to feet? So yeah, so Auntie Nita, thank you so much for having me on, y'all. I've been sniffing and crying since 11 o'clock. So y'all.
It's okay. It's a man, powerful, powerful, powerful testimony.
Yeah.
Man. So I did tell you, before we started, I asked some questions, but
Yeah, go ahead.
no, Holy Spirit was like, nope, let her tell her testimony. And you pretty much answered all the questions anyway. But he was like, no, just let her share without interruption. So my God. And y'all, I was sitting here trying to fight back tears, trying to be professional. But this is my family.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know this stuff happened to her. And over here wringing my hand. Like, if I see that little boy, which is there, we didn't know. We didn't know. And wow, like, I commend you for holding it, because you did not share that with anybody. She
Nobody.
is exactly right. The little boy probably would have been dead
Yeah. Yeah.
if she had shared it. But that was a very, very heavy,
Yeah.
heavy load to carry for
Yeah.
all of these years.
All these years. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
So, wow. Pretty deep, y'all. Is pretty deep. But this
Yeah.
is what the Lord has charged me to do. So thank you, niece, for
You're
bearing your
welcome.
soul
You're welcome.
and sharing your story, because it's definitely going to help somebody else.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I hope so. I hope so.
Man,
I hope so.
we didn't
Yeah.
know. I'll say I didn't know all of the things that you experienced. And
No.
man, I understand the not knowing, like feeling like you're being left and not knowing what to
Yeah.
do. And
Yeah.
I'll share my story at the end of these interviews, but
Yeah.
I totally understand.
Yeah.
Totally understand. Well, we grew up in the same house, so
Yeah.
we pretty much experienced the same or similar things.
Yeah.
So there was definitely love in the house, definitely. But
Yeah.
there was also trauma.
There was also trauma. There
Yeah.
was also trauma. And like I said, I didn't even know I was traumatized
Yeah.
until I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Being a kid, I didn't know. We did a very, very good job. Well, I should say y'all did a very, very good job of protecting us. Me and Trika made 14 and 15 in the house. Y'all did a good job of
Yeah.
protecting us
We
from
listen.
different things, and we didn't even know that we were still experiencing them,
Yeah.
or they will show themselves up. It's like, where does this come from? And
Mm-hmm.
you remember it, and then things come back to your
You have to
remembrance.
think back and be like,
Oh,
oh, so that's why
oh,
I'm having this trigger.
oh, okay,
Yes.
yeah, it's
Yes.
real. It is
It is.
real. It
It
is
is
real.
real. But I thank God for forgiveness and
I
the
know.
power of healing.
Power of
So
healing.
I would say that the biggest takeaway is, please do not hold
Yeah.
trauma. Do not
No.
hold it.
No.
Share it
Yeah.
and forgive. You got to forgive yourself as well.
Yeah.
That's important. Forgiveness is key. And then you got to move through it. And there's nothing wrong with counseling. She said she got counseling, she
Had to.
got it from a secular and the spiritual. So Jesus and therapy works.
Work together.
It works. So come on, forget that stigma of no, Black people don't go see counseling. Yes, we do.
We do.
Yes, we do. I've been to counseling 3 times.
Yes, you do. And
Yes.
I'm telling you, once you do it, it's just like, and especially, pray about it. Let God lead you to where,
Absolutely.
because my first counselor, she wasn't ready. And,
Mine's wasn't either.
and I had to fire. You're not ready. Because this real stuff that I'm about
Absolutely.
to tell
It is real stuff. Yes. So let's make sure, pray about the counselor, make sure you get the right one. Listen and keep, if they ain't listening to you, because mine didn't listen to me. She kept trying to give me tests to see how depressed I was. I'm like, what? No, nope, nope. So I quit going. But pray about it. And seek out the right counseling. And if you have a pastor, seek counseling from your pastor as well. And if he can help you, ask him to refer you to somebody that can.
Absolutely.
Wow. So y'all, man, we have some more interviews coming up. I have 4 or 5 more because I have another person that wants to share their story. So actually, I'm not going to say I have 4 or 5 more. Whoever wants to share and bare their soul, hey, please join me on Tuesday Truths. This is a platform. It's not just for me, it's for everybody. Yeah. I would encourage you to please, if you haven't started the healing process, please start the healing process. And it starts by acknowledging it happened and it was not your fault.
Yeah.
So this is today's Tuesday Truth. My name is Juanita Williams. I'm a purpose conduit. I'm the link to Life Beyond Pain and the channel to Discovering Purpose. And I will see you next week, God willing. Please be prayerful as we continue these trauma wound interviews. Again, I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.